Alright, welcome. My name is Adatsuddin. Today we'll be looking at gender and religion. In our last episode, we talked about is gender a social construct. We concluded that, well, gender is physiological, gender is morphological, gender is psychological, gender is biological, and also gender is social. And we concluded that the more egalitarian a society is, the more the differences between the male and the female gender. So the more the gender gap widens. And that's to say that we are supposed to understand that the differences between the male and the female is designed to complement one another. Well, it's not meant to make one gender superior over the other. That's to say that the male gender should consciously struggle to understand that if they are advantaged, then it means that to complement the so-called weakness of the female. And the female gender should also understand that if they are strong, then they are supposed to use their strength to complement the strength of the males. But for today, we're looking at gender and religion. So what's this about gender and religion? We have Christian, Islamic, and traditional religion. But for today, we'll be focusing on Islamic religion. Is the women at disadvantage in Islamic religion? Is there a patriarchy system in Islamic religion? Well, the quick answer is a yes. There is a serious patriarchy in both Islamic, Christian, and even traditional religion. So let's look at the one that has something to do with Islam. I'll take you back to a brief history to the city of Medina when Prophet Muhammad was asked to find a solution to the problem of the female in the city of Medina being molested and attacked at night and raped. And like many things that happened in the prophet's lifetime, he takes it to God. He took it to God in prayers, and then a scripture was sent according to the holy Islamic book, the Quran, that, "O prophet, tell your wife, your daughters, and daughters of the believers to draw upon themselves their garment so that they will not be known and molested." Now, well, this basically means that, all right, prophet, tell the believers to dress simply in the same way so that they will not be differentiated and be molested. Well, it's like many things, it was not easy because, well, the Islam is enshrined in custom as well as function. So, well, for a slave, how can a slave dress like a free woman? So if a slave dresses like a free woman, how will she cook? How will she fish water? How will she sweep? How will she do the things she does to her mistress and her masters? So there was a problem of function. And then because the Islam, there is a need to dress according to function and according to custom. And according to function will be your role in the society, and according to custom will be like when you're in Rome, be like the Romans. Like if you're an American and you're an Islamic woman, then be like the Americans so that you will not easily be picked up and molested and maybe harassed. Well, this was also a problem because according to the Islamic history or Islamic book, the holy book, the Quran has about 114 chapters, and each chapter is written in verses. And only 3 verses from the more than 6,000 verses in the Quran talks about how a woman should dress. The first one is the one I've already talked to you about. The second one was directly to the prophet's wife when he told them to dress modestly because of their role in the society. And the last one was a response, a historical response, because when the Arabian passes through the Arabic Peninsula, then they normally use a scarf that covers from their ear backward, leaving their breast open. And so a portion was given to Prophet Muhammad that they should pick any cloth and cover their breast. And that is all that there is in Quran on how a woman should dress. So, but hijab, where did this come from? This doesn't necessarily mean that it's it, because the 3 portions that talks about the woman dressing, none of them mention hijab. So where did hijab come from? How come we have associated hijab with a female dress, with a woman's dress? Well, this does not necessarily mean that hijab does not appear in Quran. Actually, hijab appears in Quran. But whenever it appeared, it did not refer to a woman's dress. It refers to a seclusion, a divide, a separation, a screen. That's like the one that separated the prophet from the people or from his wife when he was communicating with his wife. A divide such that Mary sought, a seclusion such that Mary sought when he was giving birth to Jesus. A separation that divides the divine from the undivine. So this is what hijab means. So how come the women have now been named or now been associated with separation, with seclusion, with being divided, with being kept behind the screen. Because even in Prophet Muhammad's time, in fact, Miriam, the prophet's first wife, was what we will term today a CEO. A CEO who's a successful merchant whose caravan equals all the caravan of the people in the market then. Prophet was her employee. But she was taken by the honesty of the prophet and she proposed to the prophet and married the prophet. What of Muhammad's second wife? He was not a slacker also because he was leading team of army to war. And in that time, what of other women? Other women in Islam were also involved in Islamic Revolution as at that time. One woman was even a general that led armies of male to fight, to battle, and crush the rebellion forces. At that time, women even argued audibly and publicly with the prophet. So, what has happened to this today? It looks like if fundamentalists want to take the society to 6,000 years ago, to 6,000 AD, there will be a full stop forward. That is because we will not want to comprehend the fact that the society can be that backward. But I think that was a better society because the women were given their right and the male were also given their right. The differences was meant to complement one another. The differences was not meant to make one gender superior over the other, which is what is obtainable today. So it looks to me, or of course it's factual, that Prophet Muhammad handed over the work of translating the Quran into some cleric's hand. And that has become the problem the women face today. For example, the portion of the Quran that says, "O Prophet, tell your wife, your daughter, the women of the believers to draw upon themselves their garment. This is better so that they may not be known and molested." Certain clerics have inserted some interpretation to that. And in certain Quran, this portion reads like this: "O Prophet, tell your wives, your daughters, and daughters of the believer to pull up their garment," in parentheses. A garment is a veil that covers the entire head and the face, the neck, the breast, and all the way down the ankle and down the wrist. Everything in the woman's body must be covered except her eye so that she can see where she's going. Well, is this really real? If Prophet Muhammad's wife was that way, will she be able to get everything she acquired as at that time? Of course, see what happened to the women today, especially in the Arabic world. If a woman attempts to go to school, she's stopped and she's pushed into early marriage. If she attempts to drive a car, she's jailed. If she attempts to take part in political uprising happening around her vicinity, well, she's opposed. She's publicly assaulted and molested. Is this what Prophet Muhammad really wished for the women? Well, that's a big no, because certain clerics have brought in so many culture, have brought in custom of men into the Islamic religion, and that is what has begun to keep the women behind. Well, this is not to say that the women should begin to put up a fight, because one of the principles of Islamic jurisprudence says that the rights of women can still be gotten within Islam. Of course, there are two laws, and that's the law of Ilia, which means rationale, and that law believes that any law that was created for a reason, if the reason is no more, then the law should also be rejected. So women have a backdrop, they have a foundation with which they can begin to diplomatically put forward the rights of women to the Islamic clerics today, so that women can also have a voice, so that women can also be given responsibility, so that women can also be recognized even in the Islamic world. In the next video, we are going to talk about some Islamic rulings that is really putting women behind. Thank you for listening. Thank you.